A little hot today. I just got it out of the pot. Here we go. Oops, we better get going. Friday's a little chill. Hot and cold. Hot. Here we 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. I had a little tete-a-tete yesterday with a video consultant from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And he's really an expert, but I said, I don't want to put too much energy into this. I like to do it. It's fun. I try to keep it short, and I watch some of his videos, and, they're an hour and a half. Okay, well, it's easier to do an hour and a half and just talk, but that's not what we do. We got to tighten it up, man. We got to get you the goods and really make it happen. So anyway, on that note, let's go over and see what Meta is up to today. Okay, so they are running this ad. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. See, this is going to be fun. Meta. And supposedly the kids are going through an art gallery, and how did they force them to that? Anyway, so I took my kids like twice. And they're looking at a painting, and all of a sudden the painting starts coming alive, and you zoom in,
imagination,
and it's lots of music. I speeded this up a little because it's kind of boring, and the idea is that you'll be drawn in even more to the cyber world, and it'll come all around you, and you'll be right there on the spot, part of it. But it doesn't look like it's that much fun to me. I hate to say it. What do you think? And on that note, let's go over to some more Facebook talk, because we have some. Okay, so Black Friday. This is from Ray Schultz, my old friend Ray Schultz. And he says that cart abandonment peaks on Thanksgiving, which is probably okay. He says people after dinner, they tend to shop a little bit, but they don't necessarily check out. They want to wait for Friday. Okay, so peak cart abandonment, but are they really abandoned? Not necessarily. So you should be ready to send abandonment recapture emails throughout the week. Okay, that makes sense. I would say don't just stop with emails. I know I get a catalog, and then I get picked out what I want, and then I go and get it maybe in the cart, and then I wait for a sale. I wait for a code to come in my email. I'm an omni-channel shopper. Of course I am. Okay, shoppers abandon carts all the time for various reasons, but having the right tools to remind them of their purchase can recover online sales at a solid rate. I tease about personalization and about modeling, being able to tell what I want. But if you're not doing retargeting on abandoned shopping carts, you're just an idiot, because you know what I want. I just told you I put it in the shopping cart. Doesn't mean I'll buy it, but it means I know what I want. It's that, or at least I want to keep an eye on it, right? And I love that eBay lets me keep the cart forever. Some companies, they'll take that cart, and after 3 days or something, they'll empty it for me. I remember the first time Best Buy would go from my computer at work to my computer at home, or vice versa, and the cart would still be there. And I thought how cool that is. That's like really online shopping. Okay, so the cart abandonment was 7. It's down a smidgen. That's hardly significant. Another is add to cart emails. But I would say one of the things you really want to think about is retargeting with mail. If you're not set up for it by now, you're probably going to have a little trouble getting it done. I'm not sure, but I know a bunch of people who can do it for you, and some of them are better than others. And if you call me, I'll let you know. I'm not going to mention too many, but I know that Brian DeLate is really good, and Paul Lawson down in Arizona. If you're on the West Coast, you might want to use him because he is over that way, and Brian is the completely other end of the country. Makes sense. Okay, 70% of purchases last year on e-commerce purchases. That's really important to say. We're on mobile, 30% on desktop. Anybody who shops on mobile, I think, is into self-torture. But that's okay. That's what my kids do. Okay, so anyway, that was a pretty good article. Now, here's a good article from Brand United, Linda Casey. Direct mail enjoys resurgence. And this is kind of a rehash of the article I cited earlier in the week from Business Insider saying that Apple has turned off their tracking. It's allowed opt-out, but only 5% are opting in or something. It's just blasted it. Okay, and as a result, Facebook is having trouble because they used to latch on to that stuff and guess what you wanted. And so now, and then Facebook yesterday announced that they were, displurging or something. I forget the word. Decertifying thousands of categories, advertising categories. Not that they told you what they were anyway. It wasn't like you could go select on them all. It was their modeling that they're throwing away thousands of variables. Why? Well, probably because most of them don't work. You heard it here first, folks. Most variables don't work. You just don't, okay? And that's the way the world is. Our system supports 500 variables. It doesn't sound like a lot, but even then, 80% don't have much value. We throw them in there. Sometimes we get surprised, the full moon variable or the percentage of mobile homes was always a hot one. But Facebook probably doesn't even have those. Anyway, so people are shifting to direct mail. Omni-channel. Now that was interesting because the only person I know who uses that word is David Rosendahl. And everybody else said it says Opti-channel. Opti-channel. Oh, this is Opti-channel. No, what's the other one? Omni-channel. Yeah, omni-channel marketing is more common. But I think David Rosendahl coined this Opti-channel. Anyway, it means doing more than one channel at once, I think. Multi-channel, that's another one. We used to call it integrated marketing back in the 80s, believe it or not. Okay, so she cites Jason Nickel, who was in that article up here in Brand Insider, who's the VP of marketing at a company called 10,000. We had a picture of the cover on the other article. This is good. We're actively looking and testing new platforms, and what's old is new again. Print is most certainly not dead. And then there was a study from Pebble Post that says that 80% of respondents were attentive direct mail, but 50% ignored digital ads. And it's got to be higher than that because we all kind of ignore digital ads. Here's a nice article from Jerry Bernhardt. All hail the return of catalogs. My mailbox has been stuffed with them. It seems like it's a resurgence. This is like deja vu. Between Apple's privacy changes and the ongoing controversy over Facebook practices, more and more consumers are steering clear of Facebook apps. Yeah, that's me. I do use Facebook, even on my phone, but I don't use the app. I just use the mobile. And it doesn't work for messaging, but then you can switch to the desktop on your phone, which is really squinty. Okay, so many direct consumers are returning to catalogs, which isn't a surprise to grizzled direct marketers. I thought it was funny. I made the list. I was the very last friend of Jerry's to make the list. An afterthought. He thought, I better do John because he's going to talk about me. Anyway, so the question he asked then, are the demographic trends working? Or is this going to be a long-term thing? Is this just a short-term comeback? Actually, according to all my research and studies I read, the young people are into it more than the old people. We've been throwing out catalogs our whole life, but to the young people, it's a surprise, and they're really into it. Now, here's an article I really wanted to get to yesterday from Eric Koenig. I was not expecting much of it because it's what to expect from 2022. And those articles are usually, the same as 2021 and 2020 and 2019. We're going to do big things. It's really going to change. It's all going to be different. But not like this time. Eric really did a good job, and I really like it. Okay, it says direct mail has made a comeback of sorts. It's even surpassed pre-pandemic levels. If I could read, I'd be dangerous. Okay, yearly volumes have returned and surpassed pre-pandemic levels. Of course, they're way down from 2007, but that was a long time ago. If you're thinking about entering direct mail, fact is, we didn't even start measuring Google ad network and stuff, digital advertising, until 2009. People don't realize that. Okay, so that's really what cut into it. But if you're thinking about entering direct mail or updating your 2022 direct mail program, here's a good view. Okay, digital advertising is fatigued. You know, Mike Gunderson out in San Francisco says they're getting more and more calls saying we just can't scale digital. We keep throwing more and more money at it, and there's less and less impact. Now, that's kind of what happens at an auction. You know, if you get, I used to watch that where they bid on the storage lockers unseen. You know, and if one person shows up, you know, and you pay $20 for the locker, almost anything you find is going to pay off. If 2 people show up, maybe it's going to be 40, maybe 50. If 10 people show up, you might have to pay $200 just to open that door. Well, that's the way an auction is. And that's the way digital is. It's all an auction. So the more people that decide to do it, the more money gets made by Google, and the less effective it becomes. And the more money you have to throw at it just to break even. You know, I remember that, my Yellow Page salesman friend. He said, I go to customer A and I say, oh, customer B is going to have a bigger ad this year. You better up yours. Then I go back to customer B and say, oh, customer A is going to have a bigger ad this year. You better up yours. Just go back and forth. Okay, that's what digital advertising is about. Never mind the effectiveness. Doesn't matter. You know, now you can't auction off postal spots. You don't have much say in it. And in fact, the less mail and the fewer catalogs, the higher they want to charge. It's the way they go because that's the way the government thinks. But that said, maybe the prices will go down as more people use it because it'll get more efficient again. Anyway, 75% of consumers are overwhelmed by digital ad exposure, and keen brands are fighting digital apathy and engaging customers offline, like the old days, with direct mail marketing, and it's working, okay? And in a recent Adweek article, CMOs boasted about the effectiveness of modern direct mail for moving prospects further down the funnel, converting high-quality customers, and stimulating more loyalty from existing customers, okay? And direct mail volumes are up 34% from 2020, okay? But not only have direct-to-consumer marketers launched direct mail alongside their digital programs, they're also, and this is really important, leveraging the offline data used for physical mailings to replace or augment the online data powering their digital campaigns. As I've pointed out, the digital world does not know who engaged with their ad. They only know who bought. They know who was targeted, but they don't know individually. They know, but they don't know if you're paying attention. They don't know if you were mentally engaged. In mail, doesn't throw itself out. Mail guarantees delivery to a decision maker who has to engage in order to deal with it. Not saying that your ad will be loved, but it will be looked at. And that is a powerful basis for real data. Okay, so direct mail list data can be onboarded into digital platforms for use during predictive modeling, device targeting, and campaign performance management. Right, when you start with the household address and you ship to the household address, you have a natural synergy as far as data goes. It elevates your data to something real instead of phony baloney graphs from Google Ad Network. Okay, so the first point is targeting. I don't like the word sophisticated. I've made that point often. The strongest pillar beneath, this is something people don't get. The strongest pillar beneath direct mail's effectiveness is targeting. Offline data's richness and versatility allows direct marketers to identify the niche audience segments or scale campaigns. We get 2 things in mail. One thing is we get an interest group or something like that, a demographic, a neighborhood. All 3 of those are possible. The other thing we get is we know the decision maker in the household will look at it. And those things are not obvious in digital advertising. We also get personalization and relevancy. Oftentimes we don't cause that. It's because your life changes and now it's relevant. Sorry, that's the way it is. This is kind of backwards. But at least we know you looked at it. So if it's relevant, you got the message. And maybe it's not relevant. And this is another important benefit of mail. Even if it's not relevant, you still didn't ignore it. You still registered with it. I need new windows. Am I going to get new windows? I don't know. But I saw another company that's been advertising, and I know about them. Probably won't go to them, but they're in my head. And if I didn't know any better, I might go to them. Okay, omni-channel. See, here's that other word. Omni-channel experiences. Okay, sharp marketers are maximizing the impact of their campaign by unifying physical and digital, also known as fidgetical. Fidgetal. Fidgetal. I'm fidgetal. You know that. Anyway, consumers embrace and even trust this type of marketing strategy because they can control when and how they interact with the brand. Right. I can lay that catalog down and come to it when I feel like it. And then if I get an email, I go buy because it's given me even better deal. Okay, so Eric, thanks a lot for that article. Actually, very, very good. If you go over to wdma.org, it'll be up with all the markups, and so you'll remember this even better. You can mark it up yourself if you have very good PDF software like I do. Have a great day. Make a comment. Thanks, Keith. Did you hear I mentioned Paul? Too bad Paul doesn't listen. I especially mentioned Paul. Have a great day and a good week.